What's your mission in life? Why you do whatever you do?
When I was a kid, I was wondering kind of what's the meaning of life? Like, why are we here? What's it all about? And I came to the conclusion that what really matters is trying to understand the right questions to ask. And the more that we can increase the scope and scale of human consciousness, the better we are able to ask these questions. And so I think that there's certain things that are necessary to ensure that the future is good. Some of those things are, in the long term, having long-term sustainable transport and sustainable energy generation, be a spacefaring civilization, and for humanity to be out there among the stars and be a multi-planetary species. Being a multi-planet species and being out there among the stars is important for the long-term survival of humanity. And that's one reason, kind of like life insurance for life collectively, life as we know it. But then the part that I find personally most motivating is that it creates a sense of adventure, and it makes people excited about the future. And if you consider two futures, one where we are forever confined to Earth until eventually something terrible happens, or another future where we are out there on many planets, maybe even going beyond the solar system, I think that second version is incredibly exciting and inspiring, and there need to be reasons to get up in the morning. You know, life can't just be about solving problems. Otherwise, what's the point? There's got to be things that people find inspiring and make life worth living.
So what is life for you? $1 million D, what is life for Elon Musk?
I find as I get older, I find that question to be maybe more and more confusing or troubling or uncertain. I think particularly when you see the advancement of something like video games, you know, like say 40 years ago, you had video games, the most advanced video game would be like Pong, where you had like two rectangles and a dot. You know, like batting it back and forth.
I played it.
Oh yeah, like me too, exactly. I
That's
played Pong. Exactly, it sort of dates you a little bit. But yeah, we both played the same game. And that was like, wow, that was a pretty fun game at the time. But now you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic, and millions of people playing simultaneously. And you see where things are going with virtual reality and augmented reality. And if you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, like even 0.1% or something like that a year, then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. They'll be so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. How do we know that that didn't happen in the past and that we're not in one of those games ourselves?
If we look at our life, how life will be in Earth 20, 30, 50 years from now? Our education, our transport. How do you see it?
Well, I think this is one of those things that's quite difficult to predict. I mean, the first controlled powered flight was 1903 with the Wright brothers. And then 66 years later, we put the first people on the moon. If you'd ask people, say in 1900, what are the odds of man landing on the moon, they would have said that's ridiculous. And if you try to talk to them about the internet, they would not even know what are you even talking about? Like, this sounds so crazy. But today, with a $100 device, you can video conference with anyone in the world, on the other side of the world. And if you have a Wi-Fi connection, it's basically free. Free to have an instant visual communication with anyone, or even with millions of people. You know, with social media, you can communicate to millions of people simultaneously. So, and you can Google something and ask any question. It's like an oracle of wisdom that you can ask almost any question and get an instant response. It would have been incredibly difficult to predict these things in the past, even the relatively recent past. Is that any predictions we make today for what the future will be like in 50 years will be wrong. I mean, I think directionally, I can tell you what I hope the future has. I hope we are out there on Mars and maybe beyond Mars, the moons of Jupiter, traveling frequently throughout the solar system, perhaps preparing for missions to nearby star systems. I think all of this is possible within 50 years. And I think that'll be very exciting. I think we'll see autonomy and artificial intelligence advance tremendously. I think that's actually quite near term. As it is, the Tesla cars that are made today have the sensor system necessary for full autonomy, and we think probably enough compute power to be safer than a person. So it's mostly just a question of developing the software and uploading the software. And if it turns out that the compute power, that more compute power is needed, we can easily upgrade the computer. And so that's all Tesla's built since October of last year. And other manufacturers will follow and do the same thing. So getting in a car will be like getting in an elevator. You just tell it where you want to go, and it takes you there with extreme levels of safety. And that'll be normal. It'll just be normal. Like for elevators, there used to be elevator operators. You get in, there'd be a guy moving a lever. Now you just get in, you press the button, and that's taken for granted. And I don't mean narrow AI. Like vehicle autonomy, I would put in the narrow AI class. It's narrowly trying to achieve a certain function. But deep artificial intelligence, or what is sometimes called artificial general intelligence, where you could have AI that is much smarter than the smartest human on Earth. This, I think, is a dangerous situation.
Why it is dangerous? I mean, there is two views. One view is artificial intelligence will help humanity. There is another school of thought is artificial intelligence is a threat to humanity. Why is that?
Well, I think it's both. You know, it's like one way to think of it is imagine we were going to be visited. Imagine you're very confident that we were going to be visited by super intelligent aliens in, let's say, 10 years or 20 years at the most. Super intelligent.
So you think within 20 years
yes,
we'll have alien in Earth?
Well, digital super intelligence will be like an alien.
It will be like an alien.
Yeah.
But my question is, do you think there is other intelligent life outside the Earth?
It seems probable, but I think this is one of the great questions in physics and philosophy, is where are the aliens?
Do you think we'll make contact with alien within the next 50 years?
Well, that's a really tough one to say. I mean, if there are super intelligent aliens out there, they're probably already observing us. That would seem quite likely, and we just are not smart enough to realize it. Without exceeding the speed of light, even if you're only moving at, say, 10 or 20% of the speed of light, you could populate the entire galaxy in, let's say, 10 million years. Maybe 20 million years max.
Once you said you want to die on Mars, why?
I don't, to be clear, I don't want to die on Mars. It's like, I mean, we're all going to die someday. And if you're going to pick some place to die, then why not Mars?
Okay. Let's come back to Earth, actually. Okay. You tweeted that you are building a tunnel under Washington, D.C. Why? What is it?
Well, it's a secret plot,
Okay.
just between us.
Nobody heard you?
Yeah, exactly. Please keep that secret. Well, I think this is going to sound a little, I mean, it seems like somewhat trivial or silly, but I've been saying this for many years now, but I think that the solution to urban congestion is a network of tunnels under cities. And you can, when I say, I don't mean a 2D plane of tunnels, I mean tunnels that go many levels deep. So you can always go deeper than you you can go up. Like the deepest mines are taller than the tallest buildings. So you could have tunnels, a network of tunnels that is 20, 30, 40, 50 levels, as many levels as you want, really. And so given that, you can overcome the congestion situation in any city in the world. The challenge is just figuring out how do you build tunnels quickly and at low cost and with high safety. So if tunneling technology can be improved to the point where you can build tunnels fast, cheap, and safe, then that would completely any traffic situations in cities. And so I think that's why I think it's an important technology. Washington D.C., LA, and most of the major American cities, most major cities in the world, suffer from severe traffic issues. And it's mostly because you've got these buildings you have tall buildings that are 3D, and you have a road network that is one level. And then people generally want to go in and out of those buildings at the exact same time. So then you get the traffic jam.
In your opinion, what is the new disturbing thing that will come in technology next? What's next in technology? The way we live, the way we think, the way we do business.
Well, the most near-term impact from a technological standpoint is autonomous cars, like fully self-driving cars. Like I said, that's going to happen much faster than people realize. It's going to be a great convenience to be an autonomous car, but there are many people whose jobs it is to drive. In fact, I think it might be the single largest employer of people is driving in various forms. Then we need to figure out new roles for what do those people do. But it will be very disruptive and very quick. Now, I should characterize what I mean by quick, because there are quick means different things to different people. There are over 2 billion vehicles in the world, approaching 2.5 billion cars and trucks in the world.